Hey guys, James here. Quick transparency. This is a singular part to what will essentially be a 12-part series that I do throughout the year, where I just steal an idea from the purple guy and basically just do a media retro, or not really retrospective, but kind of my media list for 2025. Again, all transparency, I am stealing this from the purple man himself. I'm not gonna name him just because I think everyone in my audience knows who I'm talking about, and I want to go throughout the year, not directly naming any big Death Battle YouTuber names, and just see if people can understand who the hell I'm talking about without me ever saying their name. But I am essentially stealing this idea from him, and I'm not gonna make 2 4-hour long videos. I'm just gonna do like singular parts for each month. This is gonna be in the start of every video. So I hope you enjoy this, and I don't know, let's just go watch the video. Fuck you, we're not professional here. I'm leaving the AC on our record, so you have to listen to it in the back. Anyways, Season 1 of Black Clover. Funnily enough, this ends like just a bit before where I am in the manga. Like the same arc where I'm at, it's just like the ending to it. So, funny how that works out. I might wait to watch Season 2 until I've read a good chunk more of the manga. But, it's really good. Like, take a lot of what I've been praising already with Black Clover and kind of just insert it into here. Like a record, like, I think half of this I didn't talk about here on the channel. But, I really like the premise to it with Asta. I think Asta is a great protagonist. I like a lot of the Black Bulls. I like Noelle. I think Yuno's a fine enough rival. And, I mean, yeah, the story's really good here. And then also I find the anime to have some pretty solid animation and some good voice acting for the dubbing. And most of what I can say, I've kind of already said, so I feel like there's no point in me repeating most of that. I think Season 1 is very solid. Also, the soundtrack is pretty good, too. I like the openings. I don't have too much to add. That, again, like, I just haven't said. If you want more in-depth, I get, well, not fully in-depth, but I guess go watch my other Black Clover manga parts I've done for some of these previous ones. But I find this to be pretty solid. I think, like, the weakest was just the start, which admittedly, yeah, that is kind of like... Because, like, yeah, most things are kind of weaker at the start of the story, because, like, yeah, it's like, introducing everything, it's building up. That's fair. But, Season 1 Black Clover, I really liked it. I would like to, like I said, I would like to read the next good couple volumes before I start Season 2 at any point. There's, like, I think 4 seasons right now of Black Clover. So, yeah, it'll be a good bit before I get to the next one. But yeah, I really liked it. So you might notice July was a relatively small month media-wise. Like, there wasn't a lot of stuff there compared to, like, the last fucking 2 or 3. And, Yume Neko, When They Cry Questions Arc, is the big reason why. So I bought this because I've been getting a lot more curious on the Princess versus Beatrice from Slay the Princess and, you know, Yume Neko. I've been getting a lot more curious on that, and I thought, you know what? Fuck it, let's play Yume Neko. I know it's a very long game. I looked on, like, how long to beat, and just the questions arc alone took most people 65 hours. It took me 72 hours to beat the game. And it's a visual novel, so I put a lot more focus onto it than without having, like, stuff playing in the background, like whenever I play, like, an action game or whatever. Or something that doesn't really require me to be paying attention 24/7, and I could just pause something's going on screen. But this was a long one, and at first I saw, oh, I'll put, like, each episode on here, but then I decided, oh, excuse me, you know what? No, I'm going to wait until I finish all 4 of the episodes on the questions arc, then I'll put the questions arc on there. And when I get around to the answers arc, I'll do the similar thing with that. And, oh god, I have a lot to say. And I guess most people, like, try to, like, say, like, oh yeah, you should play Yume Neko. They can't really get anything in the game, because, like, you gotta experience it for yourself to really understand. And I 100% agree. Because it's hard to talk about the game without spoiling a lot of stuff that's really intriguing about it. So this is gonna be my call to action right now. Please go play Yume Neko, or at the very least, like, listen to like the first 2. I'm gonna split this up into like 4 different pieces, 4 or 5. But listen to like how I talk about the first 1 or 2 episodes, and then maybe go play it for yourself. Preferably play it before I start talking about the game, because I definitely think this is an experience you want to go into blind. Because it is insane. It's a visual novel, so you know that much. And also, it's a murder mystery, and like, it's a subversion of all the tropes you always see in murder mysteries, at least during like the 1980s, 90s, or early 2000s, because this came out in like 2006 originally, I think. I don't know, but so it's a big subversion of all of those tropes, and they even point them out, but they don't rely on them as crutches. They always they point them out, and then they usually kind of work around them or so. It's hard for me to explain, because again, I'm always unscripted with this shit. But yeah, this is my call to action. Go play this game. That's going to be my original selling point. It's a murder mystery that subverts those tropes and expectations. Also, like, the cast, I think, is very solid, and the music is super fitting throughout the whole game. I love this game's soundtrack. Not a lot of it is stuff I'll listen to on its own, but it always is great at setting like, the atmosphere, setting the tone it wants you to be in. I think it's a very great soundtrack. And also, before I start really talking about the episodes, it's going to be, like, the longest segment, for sure. But, what was it? Oh, yeah. So there's like 3 different versions. There's the original one that released in like 2006 or whatever. There is the Pachinko version. I think there's 2 versions of this one. One that has like no CGs and one with CGs. And then there's the PlayStation 3 version, which has like, it's updated in like every way possible. And I did not know any of this. I just bought it off Steam and just played it like how it's presented there. There are no CGs at all. And there's a couple of sprites that don't get updated at all to match the newer designs. And even like in the info boxes for like the fucking, oh, what the hell, the Chester sisters, or 2 of them, they don't get the updated designs for the info box, and that's in episode 3. So it's like, okay, what the hell is this? And I didn't find out until like 65 fucking hours into this whole thing, is that, oh, there is a mod that you can install that will keep the original story of the Pachinko version here, with no changes that the PS3 version might have made, while also having the updated format and visuals and voice acting from the PlayStation 3 version. I'm like, god damn it! I wish I knew this 65 fucking hours ago. Oh well, I'll finish it the rest of the way, and I think maybe when I play Answers Arc, I'll see about putting all that shit into there. Anyways, I talked 5 minutes without actually talking about like the stuff in the games itself. Well, I kind of did. But, again, I'm splitting this up into 2 different parts. So this will be like 5 different recordings, but 1 segment altogether. So, let's talk about episode 1. Alright, episode 1. I'm going to give a bit of a plot synopsis and kind of explain what happens throughout it. But basically the plot is, it is, like I said, it's a murder mystery, and it mainly follows the Ushiro Miya family, which is a very wealthy family that is on like a mansion. There's like a family gathering of it, as well as about 5 servants, as well as a doctor. There's a total of 18 people on this island during a family conference that's like once a year, because the grandfather, who is big into the occult, is supposedly going to pass away in 3 months, like a year ago. So, but that's the general. Also, there's like a storm, something going on. I'm pretty sure it's a storm. It's like a specific one. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. It's like a typhoon, hurricane, storm, just something that's like basically making it so like, okay, they can't leave the island and no one can get on the island. Oh, excuse me. And after the first night, there are 6 murders that happen and no one knows who did it. You know, classic murder mystery. And that's kind of just the whole, that's the big thing of it. Just trying to figure out who could potentially be behind all these murders, as well as more murders happening during the course of events. And there's also this whole underlying, like thing going on in the background, like, maybe is this the witch Beatrice? Because there's also the legend of the Golden Witch. Because the grandfather fucking sips so fucking hard for Beatrice, like, my god. But basically there is a ritual where as these certain murders will happen at, like, this point in time or so during these like 2 days. And if no one can figure out the riddle to the witch, everyone will die, and the witch will be revived, and everyone will be in the Golden Land. That's the general plot of it. And, like, this episode is the most, like, it's the most normal, I guess. It's the most, like, human. I'm not human, really. I'm trying to figure out, like, the best way to explain it. Like, there's very little, like, supernatural shit going on with it. And while there is definitely, like, that underlining tone, like, maybe there actually is a witch here committing the murders, some unseen, unnatural force, which definitely makes it a very interesting story. And this does feel like the most disconnected from the other ones because it has very little, like, supernatural aspects. Like, I think the most supernatural stuff that's going on, outside of, like, how it ends, is things, you know, like how some murders happen where it's a closed room. There's no way to get in or out of this room without, like, getting caught in, like, a locked room or so. So it definitely does make, like, a lot of very interesting murders to try, like, piece together yourself, like, okay, how could this have happened? Who could have potentially done it? Like, maybe thinking a bit about it from, like, the perspective of the other characters. I definitely think it's, like, the most, like, this is kind of like your standard murder mystery, but it has just enough for me to, like, differentiate it from, like, how most definitely could, like, play out in a very, like, meh way possible. Because, like I said, there's that whole underlining tone of, like, is there a witch? And it also helps, I think, the main cast is pretty solid. Like, the main character here, outside of Beatrice, but we'll talk about her later, is Badler. Yeah, his name's Badler. Sometimes I keep calling him Batter. But Badler, he's kind of the main guy. And I think he's a pretty solid protagonist. He's not, like, super smart or anything, but he does have, like, a bit of a certain line of thinking. Because there's this one phrase of turning the board around that he does use a lot. And that whole phrase is just like in a chess game, if you're losing, look at the game from the perspective of your opponent. What moves do you think they will make? It's a bit of a head game type thing. Which, yeah, I definitely does think it does make him seem a lot more interesting of a protagonist. And, like, generally most of the cast, I think, are very solid. The only character I didn't really like in this episode was one of the first to die, so, like, okay. Sadly, does kill a lot of cool ones right away, too. I'm not gonna say, like, and who specifically dies. I will leave that up to you. I will say one person that does make it to the end is Natusi. I'm pretty sure that's how you say your name, Natushi. I'm not super sure. But she's, like, one of the ones that make it to the end, and I really like her in this episode. In the next three, she doesn't really get that same time to shine, sadly. But in this, I love her in this. Basically, she is one of the last remaining adults throughout the game, and she's, like, one of the last ones to die. And with how she's introduced, she seems more like that, like the woman that married into this rich family, and she herself isn't really that great. But as she, like, does everything she can to protect the kids in it, and even her own discussion with the grandfather, Ginzo, which I'm pretty sure that's his name off the top of my head. I don't have any pages pulled up right now. She is the only one that he really views to wear the family crest, the one-winged eagle. And I definitely think she has a really good arc in this. Like I said, sadly, this doesn't really get to continue in the other ones because at the end of it, everyone does die, the witch is revived, but there is a thing at the end where it's like a post-game thing, a tea party, if you will, where everyone is talking. Well, not everyone, but like the survivor, quote unquote survivors. They all die in the end, but whatever. And two that they chose to revive are talking. And all of them but Battler end up believing in the witch Beatrice. And even when Beatrice shows herself at the end, it then changes to like, okay, every following episode is now a battle between Beatrice and Battler. On like Beatrice trying to show Battler that yes, magic is real and to accept she exists. And Battler trying to find a human way all these magical murders could take place. Like viewing the perspective of after everything, because in episode 2 onwards, we as viewers do see how these murders happen, the supernatural aspects that go into how the kills happen, but like we have to try something about through the perspective of everyone else, the people stumbling upon these kills, which I definitely think makes this a lot more of an interesting type murder mystery going forward. Cause like, sorry, I'm running out of breath. But you know, a lot of the times it's just figuring out who done the kill and how to figure out where Yume Neko, after episode 1, we know who did the kill. We witnessed the kills. Minus like 1, but still. Like we know who did it, we witnessed how they did it, but we have to figure out a human way any of these murders could have happened. And the whole subversion of truth, I guess might be the right phrasing here. Just how the truth of something could maybe be viewed differently from a different person. Which I'll talk more on that probably in future episodes. But I think episode 1, I just think it's pretty solid. I left out a lot of details. It's like 16 fucking hours long. I did leave out a lot of stuff. I do think it's at its slowest at the start, before all the murders happen, which, I mean, yeah. It's kind of just being used to set the groundwork. To, like, introduce these characters, give you a vague enough idea on what they're all like. And also just like, giving you an idea, like, how some things might play out. Just setting everything up. That's basically what episode 1 is. It's more focused on having everything set up for you for everything going forward. And I do think it's pretty solid. It's definitely, like, the weakest of the 4 by default, but by no means am I saying it's bad. I think it's definitely, like, a very strong opening when you first play it, and will eventually, like, become a bit weaker and weaker and weak. Actually, no, it's not the weakest. Never mind, I take that back. But it does kind of go down more and more the more you play future episodes. I do really love it. I will say, this goes for, like, all the others, too. There are some moments where they really ham it up. And it's kind of comedic, but also sometimes it takes me out of it. Like, there's a lot of characters freaking out like that. And I get it, but also, fuck, sometimes it is wild to see. Just hear them yell, "Damn it!" Like they're a fucking anime character. Like, they are, but... you'll know what I mean if you play it. But, yeah. I think this is a very, like, it's a solid episode. The first episode. I think it's pretty good. And now we get to talk about the rest. So, episode 2, I think this is the weakest of the 4 so far. I have no idea if this is a hot take or not, but this is also kind of being more so used as setup for the future of the game. But basically, with this one, we have more Beatrice and Battler arguing with each other about, like, magic real, magic not real. And the start of it, I definitely think, is why I think this is a very weak weak compared to the rest of them. On its own, I think it's solid. But compared to everything else, I do think it's, like, the weakest. Because it has a very slow opening, and it has probably, like, the least focus on the murders for the first half. Which, I shouldn't say it like that. Like... Okay, for the first half, it's not first half, but, like, there's a good chunk of it before we get into, like, the whole family meeting. And it's more so used to set up some characters. Mainly, George and Shannon, Cannon and, Jessica, as well as, Maria and Rosa. Where, Shannon and Cannon, they are both servants. George, Jessica, both, like, they're part of the kids, though George is like 23 or some shit. And then Rosa is one of the parents, single mother, with Maria being her child, and she is the youngest of the group at like 9 years old. And it is kind of used to more so set up those relations a lot more throughout the early part of it, before we get to the family conference. And while I don't hate them, I think they're solid and do give us a lot of cool character moments. It is overall the weakest compared to like everything else that goes on. I will say though, we actually do have moments of Shannon interacting with Beatrice, and I do really like these moments because they're very friendly. Like, Beatrice does kind of give the feeling that like she might not be all that bad. She might be a very nice person. No, until the killings start, when then like, or they're about to start, and she goes like, "Yeah, no, I helped you, so then it's more funny when you die." So, not like that. I played it more for cartoony reasons, but similar to that. But I really like those moments. I also really like how Canon like defies Beatrice right off the bat. He does not trust her. I don't blame her. I don't blame him, I mean. And I think it's a pretty interesting dynamic. And also Shannon and Canon, they have really cool character arcs here, and really just throughout the whole episode, quite honestly. Because like the servants, they are treated like furniture, and they call themselves furniture. While their arcs throughout this is more so Shannon realizing, no, she's not furniture, she is human. And Canon struggling to come to terms with the idea that he might not be furniture, but an actual person. And I really think I really like these character dynamics. And it really helped them to shoot from characters like, I think are pretty solid, to like, yeah, these guys are like some of my favorites right now. Because during the second killing, spoiler, but we do show like, oh, some of these servants have some magic aspects to it, as we get like a fight between Canon and some like goat-headed servant Beatrice summons. And it's really fucking cool. You want like, come on, Canon, kick her ass! Just like, and like even in the first episode, he tries to fight the bitch. I fucking love it. Canon is the goddamn goat. And this one sadly doesn't have as much of a character arc. There's not one I love as much as I do with Natsushi, but because like I do really like Shannon and Canon's. I definitely do think they're more amplified by future arcs. But still, I definitely think they are up there. I do think these are very solid. But the reason why I kind of consider this a bit on the weaker side of things is, like I said, the start, there's a lot of focus before the events of the game. And that's not really prevalent in the next one, which I do consider my favorite, and somewhat the fourth one. I'll explain later. But this one, it's definitely a lot more focused on that, like the events leading into it, which is fine. Like I said, I think these first two episodes are more so for just like setting everything up for what's to come in the future episodes. At least right now, playing only like 4 of the episodes. That's more so what it feels like. Which is not bad, but it definitely does make them kind of stand out less on their own. Then also like how it ends does feel kind of weaker in my opinion. Though it definitely does show, like, okay, yeah, you're never really going to fully predict what happens next. Because like, every episode kind of just feels like it subverts your expectations. Which does add to the feeling, like, Yume Neko is a very unique experience when it comes to a mystery. Like a murder mystery. Because you think, okay, so these two are going to be who dies at this point in time. But no, it turns out, oh, these other ones do. Which, while it is sad to see them go, it helps to wrap up, or at least elevate, a character arc going on, which I won't explain what. I won't explain what those ones are. Play the game yourself. Figure it out. It's worth it. But it's a game that really just makes you think, oh, this isn't going to be like how I thought it was going to be at all. Because, like, how was the first one? We got like the episode really helping to give Natsushi a character arc, and you think, oh, Rosa this time is a surviving adult, really? Is she gonna have a similar character arc? But no, she has something a bit different. And her character arc also continues into the next couple episodes. Like, oh, okay, I thought this would go a different way entirely. And while I do like that, I'm not super fond of how it plays out here. I think it is solid. I just don't like it as nearly as much as I did with Natsushi. And how it does end is a bit anticlimactic, but it does play out better for the upcoming episodes. Also, like I said, there's no CGs in this version, which while on one hand, it does work both for and against the game, because what I mean by for, it kind of makes it so you have to more so use your imagination to think how these killings look. And while in info boxes, after a character is found deceased, we do see a bit of a visual representation of what their body might look like. So say, for example, a character got their fucking face all mangled and shit beyond what you could see. You couldn't tell what they looked like just by looking at their face. In the info box, you'll have what they normally look like, but the face will be all covered in, like, red to kind of signify that's how they were killed, as well as giving you a bit of a description. Which, while it would be nice to maybe see a bit more of a visual on the killings, it also leaves a lot to your imagination. It definitely plays a bit more into the I was gonna say show don't tell, but less is more, I guess, is a way. It gives you a description of it, but you don't get like a visual. It gives you the idea to let your imagination run sick. But like with this, how it can work against it is they will have a bit of a scene that kind of explains or shows what's going on. And there's one where it looks like a monster's mouth and it's chewing, but it really doesn't look like it. It's very hard to tell, and you need to take a minute to like, oh, that's what I'm looking at. And I do think this one, it's slower. I think this one suffers mostly just being slower, but has a lot of great character moments going for it with Canon and Shannon. Like I said, I don't want to fully explain all of them. I want you to play this game yourself. But I do really like it. I think while it's a good one, I do think it's kind of like the weakest of the bunch so far, especially compared to like what's about to follow. And as of right now, episode 3 is my favorite. I feel like it does the most, both with like advancing the story as well as character moments. With this, we don't really have like that same, like all these events happening before the family meeting. Instead, we get to see things from one of the siblings, Eva, when they were kids, because she is the second oldest, and all the inheritance are going to go to the oldest, which is Klaus. Cross, I don't know. I forget some of these names kind of easily, but she hated that. She thought she worked the hardest to earn the name of family, but because she was born second, she can't get that. And part of like the Golden Witch epitaph, the whole revival process, is if you can find her gold, which is hidden somewhere on the island, you will inherit the Ushiromiya family name, everything that belongs to it, as well as the Golden Witch, also her magic. So, and in this episode, spoiler, by the way, big spoiler, and it's like a huge spoiler, Eva is the one to find it, but her younger self becomes a witch in the process. And I think throughout the episode, it definitely does kind of give the idea of, or the question of, is Eva and Eva Beatrice, because whoever becomes the next witch inherits the name Beatrice. Are these like the same person, or are they two separate entities now? It kind of leaves that question up there, and I really enjoy that question. I think it's a really, really interesting one to think about. But Eva Beatrice, well, she is like my least favorite of all the witches and demons we've seen. Oh, no, not demons, but of the main witches, she is kind of the weakest for me right now. She is fucking sadistic. And there's also another character introduced who is like one of my favorites, Renavone. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. Where he is the butler to Beatrice. I fucking love him. Like, while he is on the witch's side, he is not opposed to giving some, like, knocking her down a peg or two with some comments. He is a sassy little fucker, and I love him. There's also another butler that's been one of the main ones, Genji. I love him, too. I started choking. But I love both of them, and I definitely want more interactions between the two. But anyways, he's introduced in here, and I love him. He's like my third favorite character, right behind Beatrice and Badler. Because throughout this second episode, we are shown that, like, Beatrice, she is sadistic. She is a sadistic fuck. She loves to play with people, like, just to fuck with them. But Eva Beatrice is a lot more violent with her killings. Because with Beatrice, or how she goes in this, Beto, I'll call her Beatrice, so her killings can be brutal. Like the first one, spoiler, is faces being fucking mangled, that's why I used that description. And the second one, spoiler, the first kill is 6 people get their stomachs so filled up with Halloween candy that they fucking burst. That is brutal. But episode 3, how Eva Beatrice does her first killings with Rosa and Maria, and this is the first time Maria was actually killed, and this is mainly to fucking Rosa. Her first killing is sending them like fucking hundreds of feet in the air, and then Rosa splatters against the ground. You know, that's not too bad. It's brutal, yeah, but not too bad in comparison. But she has the power to revive people. She revives Rosa, and then the next killing, I think, is she turns the sea into fucking jelly, and then just drops her in there, and she drowns. Then she revives her, and then crushes her under a mountain of cake. A literal fucking mountain's worth of fucking cake. Then she revives her, shrinks her down to the size of a butterfly. Spider gets her, Jex poisons, revive her. Fucking, at some point she bakes her in a giant ass cake with Maria, yeah. And like, they're brutal. But the reason why I'm specifically talking about this killing is because in like some 4th dimension or whatever the fuck, we have like Beatrice and Badler watching it. Well, Beatrice is finding this to be a jolly good show. Badler hates it. And it starts this whole argument between the two, where Badler no longer views Beatrice as his opponent, because she is not someone he can respect or like, because she finds joy in the sadistic killing. And then for the rest of the episode, it's more so Beatrice trying to, like, do better, to, like, you know, like, give them a bit less brutal of a killing. To tell Eva Beatrice to, don't kill them so brutally, just like, stab them or something, man, like, good God. To where it eventually goes to the point where, like, the first killings, I'm gonna spoil a bit more, sorry, but I really want to talk about this stuff, is the maids are all the first one to die. But, and then, like, this breaks George a lot. Like, cause, like, he absolutely loves Shannon, he proposed to her. So, to kind of help fix things, Beatrice ends up bringing George to the body of Shannon, and then with what remains of her own magic, and with George's potential magic, they revive Beatrice, or not Beatrice, Shannon, and it's a really heartwarming scene, and it kind of shows, like, you know, maybe Beatrice might not be that bad. And then they both fucking just die. Eva Beatrice was like, fuck you, boob. Chester sisters, go, release the snake arrow. It's just like, holy shit. And like, there's a moment later, like near the end of the episode, where there's a defying battle between Eva Beatrice and Beatrice, where fucking Beatrice just keeps fucking going against Eva Beatrice, and I love it. But my favorite part is the whole like battle of truth between Badler and Eva Beatrice, where Beatrice teams up with Badler, and I love the whole plot of just like two rivals team up against a common foe. I fucking love that. And I think it's really cool here. It definitely gives Beatrice a lot more depth than just sadistic bitch. And I fucking love it. I think the two really work off each other incredibly well, both as opponents but as allies. And while in the end, spoiler, it is shown like Beatrice was just trying to trick Badler this whole time to admit that witches and magic are real. However, I do think there was legitimacy throughout that. Like, Beatrice did want Badler to be a true ally, or not true ally, but see her as an actual rival, as someone to actually have fun with, because they are having fun with this whole chessboard battle between the two of them. It generally does feel like that, and that's what makes me love this one. We also got a lot of cool moments of characters getting time to shine that might not have that opportunity earlier, like the battle between Canon and the seven Purgatory Sister Stakes. I forgot to mention them, but they are some of Beatrice's furniture, and there's a cool battle between them. I fucking love it. The first killing has like some of the most awesome moments to them already. It never feels like this episode ever dips. It never really feels like there's a moment in this where it slows down to a kind of a slower spot like I did the other two episodes did. And that's what makes me love this one so much. Excuse me. Not only is it like very great on its own, but it has some of my favorite character moments, especially with Beatrice and Badler. I fucking love it. And definitely made it so like Badler was my favorite. He's now number 2. Beatrice is taken from number 2 to number 1 as my favorite character in this series right now. Like, I love her. I love her as a character. And again, like, introduces Runavone. Fuck, I can't say his name right. You know who I'm talking about. I mentioned him earlier. Introduce him. That's a plus on the. That's a remove a sim from the counter. But I love this episode so much because of that. And definitely does make it like my favorite one because of that. There's so many great character moments. So many moments I feel like, okay, these characters are really growing more and I love them more. And just a lot of what happens is already very entertaining to watch. I love it. And now we got one more episode. This is going to be long, holy shit. And now episode 4. I do realize this is going to be as long as as July. I've only talked about 2 things so far, but I have a lot to talk about with Yume Neko. I might give Yume Neko its own little thing. I don't know. Anyways, episode 4. It's a step down for me. So, basically, a spoiler for how episode 3 ended. I'm going a bit more into spoiler territory. I'm hoping you played the game already. But basically, with how episode 3 ends, Eva is the only survivor left after all the killings that happened. And so she inherited the gold, the wealth, the name, everything. But there was one more family member, that being Badler's little sister, Angie. I forgot her name for a minute. Angie. Where she was only 6, but she was sick at the time of the meeting, so she stayed with her mother's family. I love the mom in this. I love her mom. Kiri-san? I don't think that's her name off the top of my head. I love her. I think she's great. She's not actually Badler's mom, but there is a cool moment where they actually do feel like mother and daughter. No, mother and son in this. But I'm not going to talk about that one as much. Anyways, this introduces... Well, basically, Angie inherits all this, but she's given a opportunity by another witch, Burn Cassell. I'm gonna call her Burn. As another thing I have not mentioned, but after every episode, there's a tea party for the witches, where Beatrice, Burn, and another one who I forget the name of, like, they're all talking, and you know, Burn. It's a bit of a betting game on this game. But Burn does bring in Angie for these more so spiritual segments of the game, and to help Badler to beat Beatrice. Anyways, Angie has a lot of scenes throughout the game that takes place in the future. The main game takes place during 1986, while hers is in 1998. And her whole story arc is more so just okay, so I have to explain a lot with this one actually. Basically, she has a diary from Maria where she uses her potential magic, her innate magic, to talk to the spirit, the witch of Maria. And we get more insight on Maria's past, how all these killings and her position is affecting Angie right now, all that shit. But she also gains one of the stakes of Mammoth, the sin of greed. And like, we kind of go back and forth. Like, most of the how it starts is more so focused on Angie and her story of how she's trying to escape her aunt, who I forgot the name of. She's like my favorite character right now. Just escaping her, and more so coming to terms with her magic, as well as just I don't know, all that type of shit. Trying to figure out what happened on the events of 1996 with all the murders. That's her story, and I just kind of find it slow. Like, it's not, like I said, it's not, I didn't say it yet, it's not bad, but compared to, like, what's happening in the main game with the killings, it's a very slow thing to go through, and doesn't help, there's like 4 characters there that don't have updated designs, so they stick out like a sore thumb compared to, like, everything else. It's just like, oh god, you couldn't have updated these? I get they're only like in this episode, but still. And sadly, and like all the other side characters that are introduced and focused on in this, I just don't think they're as interesting in this compared to like the characters we know. And I don't know if they're gonna have moments later on that helps, like, oh hey, we get to learn more about these guys, because a lot of the ones I really like now are ones I didn't really care too much about in episode 1. So I don't know, I do find to most, like, I don't really want to go for this part right now, man. And well, I do like the dynamic between Mammoth and Angie. They do feel like really good best friends. I don't, it doesn't really outweigh my disinterest overall on what's going on. I do like Angie though. I do think she's a really solid character. She's a good protagonist. I do like her arc of fully believing in magic. I do like it, but yeah, that kind of takes up half of the game and half of this episode, and I don't quite care for it. However, I do love everything happening within the murder game. Excuse me. Because the demons are a lot more in focus than this one. Kinzo, he does kind of become a lot more important, where usually he kind of just holds up in his little room or dies right away. This time around, he actually is a lot more prevalent, and he's just outright having the demons start killing people. He summons the Chester sisters, who are like these rabbit demons that are very hard to summon, and just has them just kill people. Go start the ritual! Go at it! And so there's a lot more with the magic going on, and it gives a lot of characters a lot more time to shine for me. Like Klaus, the oldest of the 4 siblings, he has not had a moment to do jack shit. He was almost one of the first ones to die, or was kind of more so in the background. Where this time around, while he's not a main focus, he has times to shine and go like, okay, I don't really like you two. You're pretty cool. Though I do think Kiri, she definitely has a lot of great moments here. But there's also like, and this is what makes me go like, fuck yeah, in this episode the most, is that there's a fight with Jessica and Rinzo at the same time as George and another demon, Gap, going on, as well as 5 of the characters trying to escape while having to deal with the goat men, as well as a witch that was introduced in episode 3 that was mostly on Balor's side until the end, Virgilia, where these are all fucking awesome! I love it! Just seeing, like, George just fucking speak down to this witch that was being a total bitch beforehand and fucking kicking her. Like, she summons, like, holes and he's just, like, evading them. It's fucking awesome! And then just Jessica just fucking slugging Runaway. She has brass knuckles just go for the fucking slugger for the punch. I fucking love it. It's so fucking awesome! It makes for really cool bits where you really think the humans might actually win this one. Sadly, no, not the case. But there's also a thing going on in the back, besides, you know, and while this is definitely way more in the background behind the stuff going on in 1998 and the stuff going on in 1990, or not, in 1986 and 1998, of Badler and Beatrice's game, where at the end of it, after Beatrice is revived and Badler is one of the only ones left, he does come face to face with the witch Beatrice, and like this is the Badler different from the one we've been following. So basically, there's the Badler in Beatrice's room. I don't know how the fuck to describe it. We don't really have a word to describe it. And then the Badler in the game. That's the first time he actually comes face to face with Beatrice in the game, and she gives him a question of like the sin, like a sin-related question, but his answer disappoints her, so she almost leaves the game. And then Angie basically has to sacrifice herself in order to get Badler to take this game fully seriously, and to actually fully try to defeat Beatrice. Was giving like the best tea party there is with this, where it's a big battle between Badler and Beatrice, and it really actually just feels like Beatrice wants the game to end so she can die, because she's been alive for 1,000 years, mainly because of Kinzo keeping her a caged bird in flesh. So I really, and I don't know past this. I don't know what happens past this, and I definitely think that whole idea, as well as just the fights between the humans and the demons, is really what elevates this episode for me. Makes me go, oh my god, this is actually fucking awesome. So this is a lot less focused. But episode 4, I love it, and just Yume Neko overall, just Quench's arc, I love it. It's one of my favorite things this year. I can't wait to get to the Answers arc, to start playing that, and to start seeing where the story is going to go from there. I love it. But I talked enough about this. I talked enough about Yume Neko right now. This is going to be like 40 minutes for just Yume Neko. I might just plop it into its own thing and then link that in the description. But Yume Neko, fucking loved it. I can't wait to get to the second half of the entire game. Godzilla King of the Monsters. I was kind of hoping this would be an improvement from Godzilla 2014, but I like the kaijus, the big monsters. They look fucking cool. Them fighting is pretty cool when it's not giving you fucking flashbangs and epilepsy. I mean, yeah, the big monster stuff's cool. I think that's all the, like, I like this that I got to say about it. The human plot fucking sucks. It is so fucking boring, and just, it took me out of the film. Like, whenever the human stuff came up that wasn't just big-ass monsters fighting, I just did not pay attention. I just zoned the hell out. It was not at all interesting. And I guess other people who actually did bother to pay attention to that shit found, oh, there's a lot of plot holes in this shit. It's just, okay. I'm just gonna believe that, because I would not be surprised. I don't care if it's right or wrong or not, because, like, his movie's boring. Like, it is just a slow, unentertaining movie with, like, cool monster shit that, like, yeah, you might get blinded by from the lightning. Like, King Ghidorah and Mothra, they look fucking awesome in this. I like their designs in this. Godzilla still looks cool. And it's just like, the human stuff just takes me out of it. I didn't really like it. That's all the Godzilla films I have right now. So, I'm all prepped for Hulkzilla. Even though, as of recording this, it's like the day after. I held off doing this a lot because of, other stuff. But yeah, King of the Monsters, did not like it. So this is kind of why manga kind of stopped for a minute. I was on Sailor Moon, and not saying like I didn't like reading this. It's just these volumes are longer, and I got a bit more busy, you know, along with Yume Neko. So kind of took me a minute to get through Volume 5 of Sailor Moon, and this is also the last volume I have right now because the store I was getting them, they were getting them in, but for some reason they didn't get Volume 6. They got Volume 7, so I kind of waited for them to get Volume 6. They never did, so it might be a bit before I continue Sailor Moon. But Volume 5, I think, is a pretty big improvement compared to the last few. Pacing-wise, it is so much fucking better. Like, it actually feels like these scenes are flowing into each other. Where, like, before, I kept having this issue where it felt like we were at one scene and then went straight to the next. Because, like, there wasn't much, like, backgrounds for a lot of these. Nor, like indicators like, okay, we're going from this scene to this scene. There really wasn't any of that going on. Volume 5, it does feel like it actually takes the time to make shit more coherent, to actually try to give a bit more background detail, let the reader sink in, like, okay, we're here, and this is how we got here, instead of just like, oh, we're in the city, and then boom, now we're in an underground casino, now we're in a fucking dungeon on another fucking planet, or whatever. I think it's a big improvement over here in comparison to like volume fucking like what 2 and 3 probably. And like storytelling here, it feels a lot more coherent. Like I can understand what's going on. It's the pacing for fights are still kind of a bit wonky, but yeah, whatever. I'll take story pacing being a lot better. It also introduces what the hell did I just say? It also introduces the idea of there being other Sailor Guardians besides the main 5, and yeah, I do like that. We got like what was it, Uranus, Neptune, and not Mercury, another one, I'm blanking, Saturn maybe, I don't know, I'm blanking on it. But yeah, it introduces that concept, which is something I knew about because Beerus Galaxia. But that's a pretty cool addition to have. I'm surprised it's already in here. Or maybe it wasn't like introduced already. But yeah, I like these other Sailor Gardens too. The whole conflict of interests and like they have to kill this one girl, but you know, Chibi, she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to kill that one because she's her friend. So I like that conflict of interest. So like it's pretty good. That's maybe my main thing here. I think it's a pretty big improvement from like its storytelling and its pacing, especially the fucking pacing. So, Sailor Moon Volume 5, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, and I do hope that if I ever get to Volume 6, or whenever I do, it will continue this improvement going forward. A very long title, the villainess who has been killed 108 times, she remembers everything. I'd probably just call it villainess who's been killed 108 times. This is kind of like a random one I found at a fucking like comic place, or not really comic place, like a nerd place, whatever. I just randomly found it. It's cheap, so it's like the first volume, and it looked interesting enough. I decided to try it, and I guess like it's a manga version of a novel or light novel. Don't know how long that one lasted, but I guess the manga only lasted like 4 volumes before getting canceled, which sucks because I honestly kind of enjoyed this one a decent bit. I don't think it's anything like crazy or nothing. It's pretty simple, but I found it to be fairly enjoyable for what it is. I like the whole premise. Basically, main girl here, Ruby, I think her name was, she gets killed like 108 times, and after the 108th death, she remembers everything because she died accidentally that time. And when she's reincarnated, she has all the memories of her past life. And there's a couple of different changes in this one. And I think it's pretty solid overall. I enjoy it. I don't know, like, it's not anything like groundbreaking or nothing. I just think it's a solid little read. I think the cast is pretty alright. Interested in the villain well enough to see like where that's gonna go. I don't know if I'll continue this. This will just be a case of just like, if I find the next volume, fuck it, sure, I'll continue reading it. But for now though, I think this is a pretty solid first volume for a series that I guess kind of got shafted a bit in the end. But I don't know, I liked it for what it was. Megan was a movie I was actually kind of interested in checking out when it released, but didn't get the chance to. But recently I found the Blu-ray for like $10. I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to watch it. I don't know, I've been spinning a Megan vibe. I think it's because of when she started trying beef with Five Nights at Freddy's to promote Megan 2, and that fucking backfired horribly. But Megan, I think it's really good. So like, for starters, Megan herself, I think she's a very interesting antagonist I love how she starts very, very robotic at the start, but as the movie goes on, she acts a lot more like human as it goes on. It kind of shows off like the advanced AI that Megan is working on and how she continues to evolve and adapt to everything to improve her own system. I think that's really cool and definitely helps make Megan seem like a really interesting antagonist. And like, despite being originally a PG-13 movie, I did watch the unrated version before it got shifted to PG-13, which probably was the better decision to do considering like how popular this got with teens when the first trailer came out. They get some pretty cool kills in this, like, my god. There's some really brutal shit. Like, Megan fucking ripping the ear off a kid. It's just like, holy shit, that is fucking brutal. And then he gets hit by a fucking car. And like, the kill on the man, the higher up, I forget his name. I want to say David, but I don't think that's right. Where she fucking impales him with a paper cutter. And then kills the other guy that kind of got fucked over throughout the movie. Like, holy shit! There are some surprisingly brutal kills here. And also, like, the big final fight between Megan and the first robot that, what was her name? Fuck, I'm trying to remember the aunt's name. Gemma, I'm pretty sure it was. Like, the final fight between those two. Really cool. I thought that was awesome. And also, like, the main story between Gemma and Katie throughout the whole film. I love it. I think it's it tells a really good, like, lesson to where, like, especially for, like, this day and age, where you can't really have technology be the one raising your child. You can't just set them in front of the iPad and just say, fuck it, go watch YouTube. Because, yeah, that's gonna fuck with their system. They're not having a parent, like, actually fucking raise them. They're not having a guardian or adult raise them. They're being raised off the internet, which is not a good thing to do. And it kind of shows how that might make a kid act, given like Katie's whole outburst against like that therapist in the like second act of the film. Was it second act? I don't know, like the latter half of the film, when Megan was getting taken away because she was being really fucking suspicious. I think it really tells a great story there. Because, like, yeah, too often in this day and age, we got kids being raised on the internet. And, like, this was a thing back then, back in, like, my era, too. In, like, the Gen Z era, where kids were kind of just getting raised on the internet. But it's 100 times worse nowadays. Because we just have, like, we have iPads, we got tablets. Just give the kid that. You go on YouTube's Kids. You know, that system ain't really all that well managed. And especially with, like, it feels like predators have, like, doubled in the amount there are online because a whole lot of just, you know, shit that makes it hard to find. That doesn't happen in this movie, but still, I guess you could kind of argue Megan being kind of like a predator you would see online because of her basically making Katie not want to be with anyone but, you know, Megan herself. So, I don't know, I think it tells a really interesting lesson that definitely needs to be told. And, like, the story itself, I think, is really good. Again, with, like, Megan's advancing AI throughout the film, making her just smarter and smarter, be able to counter everything, know what's going on, as well as just the story being told between Gemma and Katie. And it's just, like, these two broken family members just kind of learning to adapt with each other. How Gemma goes from someone that just does not know how to parent, but kind of learning throughout the film how to kind of do things right, to Katie, who just fucking lost her parents horribly, having to learn to cope with that fact of just like, yeah, her parents are fucking dead now. Also, like, the whole thing how, like, a lot of companies will take a tragedy and try spinning it as a selling point. Because, you know, like, a big thing with Megan was, and, like, promotion going into the toy itself, the doll, was how, like, Katie's parents were killed, and they were promoting, using that tragedy of her parents' death, something that will permanently scar a child, to promote their fucking toy. And, like, one of the taglines is, like, you can even enjoy her even if you don't have dead parents. Something like that. It's just, holy fucking shit, dude. My god! So I definitely think it tells a really good story in that regard. Like, both, like, a lesson and story, and just, like, commentary on, like, modern day and age when it comes to, like, technology, raising a kid, and just, like, how big companies will go about promoting shit. I think it's really, really interesting in that regard. I guess Megan 2 wasn't nearly as good, and especially didn't perform as well in the box office. Like, there's, like, fucking no marketing for it outside of Freddy. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch Megan 2 one of these days. But the first Megan movie, I think, is really good. It could definitely be, like, a modern classic in a way, or at least, like, a decently big head for modern horror movies, or at very least acting as a great gateway to get maybe potential younger viewers into the medium as a whole. Because, again, this is kind of made, like, PG-13 because of the, you know, like, whole trends that started going on TikTok with people replicating Megan's dance that was seen in the trailer. So, Megan, I think, is honestly a very great horror movie. I really liked it. Some of you may remember back in, like, 2023, Kagurabachi, big fucking meme. People were memeing on it. I think, I can't remember how exactly it was going, but it was like saying, "This is pink!" And it just sounded like the most mid-ish shit ever. It was getting compared to Morbius a lot in the movie. But then people actually started to read it and say, "Oh, hey, this is actually really good. Don't let the memes fool you. This is actually a really good, good series." And 2 years later, I actually started reading it. I think the manga started getting physical print, I think late last year or some point this year. That's been sitting on the shelf for a while now. But I gave Volume 1 a read, and I am sorry I could not get into it. I'm sorry. I'll give my praises. I definitely like the art here, especially for, like, the sword shit. It does kind of remind me of Demon Slayer in a way. Not that, like, it's stylized the same way or it's copying another thing. No, it's just, like, it just makes you think, oh, hey, this art actually looks really fucking cool, and especially with, like, the sword stuff. Because Chihiro's main thing was, like, the sword and brings, like, black goldfish. I think that looks honestly pretty cool. I just think the art in this is generally solid. And I do like the cast well enough. I do think the character writing is pretty solid. It's just the rest of it that just could not get my attention. The main plot, I'm just not really invested in. Basically, Chihiro's father made swords. He made, like, these six special blades. They were all stolen when he was killed. Now he's trying to find them again. Found enough plot. I just don't think the storytelling right now is super great. Mainly when it comes to, like, a lot of the pacing. Mainly, like, the second half of the volume. The first half, I think it's pretty solid. Like, it's fine enough. It's not, like, anything that I'm, like, it makes me super invested in or nothing. But I think it's fine enough. It did kind of feel like it couldn't really pick a tone between being super serious or super goofy. But I don't know. And maybe that just might be a me thing. I don't think it balances the two tones exceptionally well. Like, it does good enough, I guess, but I don't know. I think it could do better in that regard. And then, like, the second half of the volume, it just felt fucking all over the place with what was happening. Mainly when, like, this one dude came in who, like, I couldn't tell if his power was, like, creating dummies to fight for him, duplicating himself. I couldn't fucking tell. But Chihiro had to fight him. And it's just, it felt very unfocused. And then the last, like, 2 chapters of the volume, the first guy you fought, like, I'm gonna turn my life around, gets killed. And then it's just like, oh, this is a new villain. And then, like, oh, suddenly now he's fighting Chihiro. I don't know. It doesn't feel that well structured right now. This might just be Volume 1. I do have Volume 2. I'm not going to get to that, like, right away. I did kind of put behind some other ones. But I'll get to that at some point, and who knows, maybe it might improve with that one. I'll see why people say, like, this is actually a really good series. But for Volume 1, I just couldn't really get invested in it. But if you like it, good on you. I'm glad that people can enjoy this if I can. It's been a while since I was able to continue the Berserk manga. I was reading it, like, a good bit in 2023, and then Barnes & Noble just stopped getting in the volumes I needed, but it was one, like, I kept regular tabs on to see, like, if they're gonna have the next one. And they did have Volume 8 after, like, 2 years of waiting, so, Yay, I can finally continue Berserk, at least until like, they don't have the volume I need anymore. But Berserk Volume 8, really great. I love the art for Berserk. Only reason why I wouldn't do the big books is A, they're expensive. B, I've already started with the main one. While it would be awesome to see that art in like a bigger page, it's gonna fuck with me OCD wise, so I'm sticking to how it is. But yeah, this is a great volume. You got cool story stuff. You got stuff with Guts and Casca that is nice. And also cool fight at the end between Griffith and Guts. That's cool. I know what happens at some point. I'm waiting for that. We're in the arc. I'm in that arc where I was just like, I'm just waiting for everything to go terribly god-awful and everyone fucking dies. That's the only thing people ever talk about for Berserk, so I'm just waiting to get there. But for now, yeah, this is a very great volume. I really liked it. I do have Volume 9. I think I'm going to jump straight to that, and then it's going to be something different. I don't have 10, but yeah, Volume 8 of Berserk, I really liked it. It was cool.